Hello, and welcome back to Mystery of Raid. The following is a story called Morlock Hill. As always, this story is the property of Legend Story Studios, and I'm here just to narrate it. This particular story was written by Kasharn Ryo and Edwin McRae, with illustrations from Nikolai Moskvin. You can always find the written story at the Flesh and Blood TCG website, or through the link in the description. But now, please, enjoy Morlock Hill. The setting sun casts Morlock Hill in a bloody hue. Soldiers hide amongst the wizened bushes, waiting with bated breath. Their leader, armor glinting in the fading light, points up at the hill's peak. Upon that ragged summit, a rift shimmers with foul radiance. Unworldly creatures spill forth from the portal like maggots from a rotting wound. The leader signals to their soldiers to hold. For several taut seconds, Morlock Hill is eerily quiet. The leader shatters that silence with a barked order that sends the soldiers charging up the hill. Their swords cleave through monster after monster, felling the first wave in moments. At the fore, armor splattered with gore, the leader catches their breath. It is the briefest respite. Through the seething mass of monstrosities comes a sight that sets the leader's heart hammering. A cluster of towering fiends thunders forward, crushing lesser creatures under hoof. Their battle axes burn with sigils and fire flares in their nostrils. The closest fiend shrieks with a manic glee and swings its axe at the leader. The warrior rolls to the side, escaping the bisecting blow by a hair's breadth. Yet, before they find their feet, the beast has wrenched their weapon from the ground and whipped it upwards, catching the leader's helm with the tip of its blade. The helm goes flying, unleashing a cascade of golden locks. Dorinthia spits blood and braces herself for the next attack. The creature barges forward, but this time Dorinthia slides low, passing beneath the axe's arc. She leaps to her feet, and as the fiend turns to face her, she sweeps her dawnblade through its thick neck. The horned head thuds into the dirt, soaring the earth with its blood. Her victory is fleeting. Dorinthia spins to meet her next foe, and the blood drains from her face at the sight of the three looming demons, larger again than the fiend she has felled. Hope falters, guttering like a candle in the wind. Solana, plunged into shadow by the endless hordes brought forth by the monastery. Vadreas was the first village to be consumed, then Sunvale, Audra and Hazeltown. Solana's farmlands and crops burned to ash, animals slaughtered. So far, Sir Bolton and his vanguard have held the walls of the city itself, but not without dire losses. Unlike the monastery's soulless army, Solana's people are not expendable. Every soldier, farmer, scholar, and child killed is a name remembered, a family broken. Screams pierce Dorinthia's ears as creatures rend and devour her soldiers. She raises Dawnblade. Though her heart pounds with terror, her sword hands are steady. Though death looms over her, she will meet it with mettle. As the first giant raises its sword, something flashes between them. Weapons crash to the ground, still clutched by dismembered claws. I cannot leave you alone for a moment, can I? Minerva's scarlet hair flows over her shoulders. Brighter than the demon blood she flicks from her twin blades. Her expression is grim and determined, weathered by violent experience. A smile cracks through the dying blood on Dorinthia's face. What kept you? Together they rush at the fiends. Minerva goes low, aiming for knees. Dorinthia strikes high, Dawnblade slicing through muscle like a knife through sun-softened butter. The giants topple to the ground, dead before their hulking carcasses hit the dirt. The pair blaze on through the horde, cutting a path, rallying their surviving soldiers. Dorinthia leads the onslaught, hope rekindled by the flame-haired warrior at her side. They advance with intent, to clear the battlefield, to capture the rift, to reach the monastery and destroy its illicit power, or die in the attempt. Solana's shrewdest scholars pored over their tomes and devices. Its keenest scouts scoured the shadows, until at last they found the source of the monastery's abyssal army, the Vitiate Gateway, the last of 9 portals linking Raid to Uratael. During the Third Age, the ancients believed they had destroyed the gateways, forever banishing the realm of dreams. Hidden behind a veil of lies and illusion by an envoy of Hiratael, the ninth portal remained intact and sealed. There it remained, closed and forgotten for thousands of years, until now. Able to slip through the fabric of space, the monastery carries the Vidyad gateway with it, using rifts to disgorge their hordes wherever they please. Yet these rifts flow both ways, and with most of the monastery's legion focused on the breakpoint near Solana, other rifts lie neglected, guarded lightly by unwitting demons. What better defense than a courageous offense upon the enemy's own doorstep? The last horned head dumps into the blood-drenched earth. The hill is theirs, but for how long? We need to fall back. More will come, and we cannot afford to lose anyone else. Dorinthia doesn't reply, instead fixing Minerva with a steely gaze that brooks no argument. Minerva levels her sword at the rift. Look, she pleads, as the next wave of horror spills out. We need to regroup with Bolden's vanguard, defend our people upon the walls of Solana. We may never get another chance. We must push on. Your stubbornness will get us killed. Minerva's eyes belie her frustration, for they shine with pride. Fine. What is your plan? Form up, Dorinthia orders her soldiers, flying wedge. With Minerva at her side, her brave few at her back, Dorinthia pierces the mustering horde with her V formation. Blades flash, blood spills, demons howl and die, until the soldiers of Solana stand before the rift. A swirling chaos of dark energy and darker intent greets them from within. From that maelstrom steps a hooded figure, his skin ashen, his smile cruel. He brandishes his grimoire and draws grotesque symbols in the air with his skeletal hand. His voice is a graveyard whisper, his words ancient and forbidden. Solanian souls recoil as dismembered demons reform and rise. Bones crack back into place. Grievous wounds are sewn together. An army is remade before their horrified eyes. Dorinthia charges forward, but before she can take but a few steps, the ground sprouts a forest of rotted arms that wrap around her legs, fixing her in place. Dawnblade is wrenched from her grasp and cast aside. While she struggles to free herself, teeth and tentacles tear her apart. Even Minerva struggles against the writhing mass. The hooded one bears down on Dorinthia, his gait a stiff and twitching union of magic and rigor mortis. His smiling mouth creaks open to speak his words of doom, yet the only utterance is a rasp of surprise. As he swirls, Dorinthia can see Minerva's blade buried hill deep in his back. Minerva twirls her remaining sword, her will steeled against the many wounds she has suffered. With a growl, the figure wrenches the sword from his back and gestures for his creatures to keep their distance. His mouth opens, jaw crackling wider than living flesh could allow, and from that gaping maw pours a cloud of ephemeral corruption. Tendrils form, reaching and jabbing at the gaps in Minerva's armor. She carves through them with her sword, slicing her way closer, maneuvering for a killing blow. As she draws within striking distance, the hooded one's chest ruptures open, his ribs part and grow, extending out to trap the assailing warrior. Minerva doesn't struggle. Her escape is futile. Instead, she casts one last look at Dorinthia. There's no fear in her eyes, only acceptance. The hooded one laughs, a sound like shattering bone, and tosses Minerva into the inky rift. Dorinthia's sorrow burns, her thoughts seared from her mind by a white-hot fury. There's a flash like a lightning strike, and her cadaverous constraints melt away. Her foes cower as she looks upon them, eyes now crackling and bright, hair shimmering with holy radiance. She reaches out with her sword hand and summons Dawnblade to her grasp. The hooded one reels from her splendor, croaking desperately for his creatures to attack. They obey, only to be destroyed by Dorinthia's incandescent rage. Bolts of foul energy leap from the hooded one's hands, only to shatter harmlessly against Dorinthia's blade-hold armor. His reaching ribs snap like dry twigs beneath Dawnblade's blurring strikes. With nothing left standing between her and her quarry, Dorinthia roars as she thrusts her sword through the hooded one's silent heart. Dorinthia turns to the rift, bracing herself to enter. A guttural retching at her feet stops her. Corruption shrouds the body of the hooded one as it coughs the morbidity from his fetid lungs. With a rictus grin, it twitches and jerks across the torn earth and into the portal. The vitiate gate shuts like a giant eye, then is gone. Dorinthia stands alone on Morlock Hill, her body drenched in blood, her soul wretched with loss. Minerva, her soldiers. As the light departs, the weight of reality settles upon her weary shoulders. She is radiant no more. She is defeated. In the scorched woods, there lies a small encampment. Beyond that, once golden wheat fields now blackened and bare, green meadows churned to mud and littered with bloated carcasses. In the distance, plumes of smoke climb the sky from their battered city. Dorinthia and Bolton survey the dismal scene. Proud Solana has been brought to its knees. Our flanks are safe now, rifts closed. The monastery is putting everything into its main hoard. Dorinthia doesn't answer Bolton. Her words are scarred and trampled as the fields before her. It is hard to see the light of Solana in these dark days. One of Blasmephet's followers, she ate most of my vanguard. We do not have the strength to withstand another onslaught. When she finally speaks, her voice is quiet, like a dagger to the gut. We have to stop them. We will, but not on our own. The Grand Magister had sent envoys to the far corners of Wraith. We need allies. They will not help the helpless. We might have been beaten, but we are far from helpless. Then we muster what strength remains to us. If you wish the kingdoms of old to rise, we must show that we are worthy. Dorinthia brushes back her silver hair and stands. We shall be the rallying cry for all of Wraith, for only together can we survive.